Our students, Brian Proctor back with another video. And let me start out by saying, have you started drawing your comic book yet? And if you said no, then the question would be why? All right, so in this video, I'm going to talk about reasons why you should be drawing your comic book, regardless of whatever skill level you are. And I'm going to show you some examples as well. I'm also going to talk about character rights, the rights to keep your character, because some people will talk about, I'm scared to put my character out because somebody might steal it. So I talk about that as well. So this is a good informational video. So much information that near the end of, around the middle, I started suffering from information overload, but I got past it. I got past it to help you guys out. But there's a lot of knowledge that you guys need to know in this video. So check it out. Let's go and give you that knowledge you need to get your book started. All right, let me start out by saying I always do my intro last. 99% of the time I do my intro last, so I have no idea what I'm going to say in my intro, so I might repeat what I'm going to say now, but I'm going to say this because it's fresh in my head. So, you have an idea for a comic book, or you had an idea for a comic book. You had an idea for your characters, your story, and so forth. And you had that a long time ago. Have you started your story yet? And if you say no, why? Why have you not started your story? Your reason could be like, well, I don't know how to draw yet, or I have to work on this, I have to work on that. No, that's a poor excuse. Start your story now, and I'll show you why you can start your story regardless of how good you can draw or cannot draw or whatever. So I had a story, an idea. This is still being fleshed out. I've got a long way to go, but I've started drawing it already. Now, I had an idea about soldiers, animal soldiers. The story just basically is the world is at war with aliens. There are basically, we cannot fight for ourselves. So what they're doing are taking animals and combining them with android bodies to fight for us. So that's basically the story. So now, I have to come up with the characters. So now I decided I'm going to have a dog, lion, a bull, gorilla, fox. I just had a bunch of characters that I decided. So I have to figure out how these characters are going to be. So even though, let's just say I can't draw, the best I can is just a little sketch, a little body, and a little bull head or gorilla head. So this is the start. This is your start. You should be doing this already. Don't sit there and try to work on perfect circles or squares or whatever. Start roughing out as best you can. So let's say you have that. So next page, same thing. How are they going to look, together, side by side, and so forth. These are really quick roughs, regardless of how bad you draw. I was not trying to draw every muscle and everything. I'm just this is in my head designing this character. Then once you get that, you need more detail to that. So one of the things like the hands, the breastplates, the body of this android that this animal is going to be in. Then the size, like what size are these animals? Like a fox and a lion are greatly different from sizes, or a man and a lion. If you took a lion and you stood him up on hind legs, how big would he be compared to a man? Things like this you have to start doing. So don't say, oh, I can't draw because of this, or I can't start because of that. You have a long way to go, my friend, a long way to go. And this is something that I saw in my head that I really wanted, the boots. Animals have claws, so because they have like the machine bodies or the man machine bodies, there are no claws. So I wanted to have something in their boots. They have like these claws in the back and these little claws in the front. It's just something that I had to have, so I started working on that design. So now, once you have all your designs and so forth done, you have to go ahead and put your characters together. Now I'm just going to run through this real quick. These are the characters, and these are kind of the finals, but you have to see the back, the side, what they look like from the back, the side, so forth and so on. A long way to go. The lion, so this is the leader, the dog is the leader, the lion is the number 2. So it's going to be like a dog-cat thing, kind of always that internal bickering. The bull, gorilla, fox, bear. I don't know if it's going to be a polar bear or a brown bear yet, but it's a bear. The rhino. The tiger, the white tiger, female. The fox, which is probably going to be the sniper. And then after that, you have to design with the fox. Either the fox was going to be the sniper or the wolf was going to be the sniper. So after that, they're not going to run around in their armored form. They're going to be clothes like soldiers because they have to have their gadgets on. So after that, you have to start designing their uniforms, their costume. How's it going to look? Where is it going to be? I mean, if he's like going to be the main fighter, and the fox or the wolf is going to be the sniper, totally different type uniforms. So then after you get that, you get your characters. You got your characters. You've got your uniforms or costumes designed. Now the next thing you have to do is start to draw your characters, start to draw pinup posters, whatever, so that you can get used to drawing your characters. Now the one thing when I was drawing this, I asked myself, now am I going to have this in a realistic style, or am I going to have it in a more not so much cartoony, but just say a more cartoony style to make it quicker and easier? So if I had to draw every bit of fur on the dog and the lion, that's going to take forever. So that's something else you have to ask yourself. Also, because of the large size of like the bull and the rhino, will they have shirts on? Where is the bull? I'm trying to find it. Okay, like say the rhino. This is like, he's massive. This guy's the tank of the group. So, you know, how can I put clothes on this guy? What type of clothes can I put on this guy? Is he going to be sleeveless like the bull? And will the lion kind of like ripped his sleeves off because he's just a bad, you know, just a bad cat. So things like that you have to start thinking about. So once you start drawing these posters and pinups to show the world, you know, just for you as well, so that you can get used to it, and then to show the world. And I think I've shown this. You should have seen this. If you've been on my channel, you've seen this. These are all my characters minus their clothes. Now I have to figure out what type of uniform each one I'm going to wear. Each one is going to wear. As I said, the shirt on the bull and the bear. Are they going to have like a shirt? Because he's got all this armor. You know, these little rivets on his chest, on his shoulders. So that's something else I have to come up with. But as I said, this is a work in progress. I haven't even developed the aliens yet, but I have this so far. So now this is the part that I really wanted to get to. You say you can't start your story because of drawing issues or so forth. So these are rough sketches. These are not even the panel, the way they're going to go on the board. But if you have a story in mind, I'm sure that you have flashes of scenes that you see. Like you might see the guy jumping through a window, or an explosion in a car or something like that. Start just rough sketching, scratching these things out. And this is I probably did this like maybe 2 months ago, but it's just like really, really rough sketches of what I see, panel for panel, or should I say, yeah, panel for panel of what I see. And then later on, I will put a little more detail into it. And I also, this is how I break this stuff down. I'll hear, for every panel, I'll hear the dialogue in my head, or I'll know what this person is saying in my head. Now later on I might change it, but I always go through with a really, really, really rough sketch like that. You don't have to be able to draw to do this. It's just a rough sketch. And I'll show you another one in a second, which probably even have even more rougher sketches to it. And then the way I do that is, once I have this down and I have my perspective or shots lined up, then I can go back and say, okay, this is whoever, and then I'll put his face, and I'll say, well, maybe he has a chain on or something like that, or his shirt is open. Then I'll start going, and then I'll doing my detail to, I can't talk and draw at the same time, to make this look better. And then from there, I'll even go one step further, and I'll take this and then I'll do even more detail to it, and that'll be my final. And then after that, then I will go back and say, okay, this is going to be my 8.5 by 11 sheet. So this panel is 1, 2, 3, 4. Which panel is the most important panel? And I would say maybe this one. So then I'll say, okay, let's try this. Let's just get this one a long panel. This is going to be the most important. So we have 3 more panels. So either I can do all lines like that, or I can do the first 2 here, and then the third one even smaller. So because I have these already, then I'll figure out my panels. So let me show you this other one. That's basically, this book is done, but I wanted to show you this for a starting point, especially when drawing, starting out your story. So one, you already have your story, you already have your characters. So start just rough sketching. Now you might not be able to understand this, but I understand this. But this is like really, really rough in my head so that I can keep it down. Or keep the idea fresh in my head. You know, the faces are wrong, the hands are wrong, the arms are wrong, but don't even worry about that. You just do what you have to do, and then I'll number them. Like this is page, I don't know what page this is, but this is page or panel 5 and 6. And as I said, once I get these squares done, then I'll figure out how I want it in my panel. So this is my 11 by 17. I have one here. And is it 2 pages or 3 pages? I have one here, I think one across here, like that. But just even the rough, just rough. Parts of the stories, parts of dialogue, just rough on it. You see how yellow this paper is? This is like a long time ago that I've been sketching these things out and putting it together. And eventually you come around and then you know what you have because you already had this roughed out. So don't say, oh, I got to get my circles right. As you draw these things, the more you draw them, the looser you start to get, the more you'll be able to start to do the body, start to do the hands, start to do stuff. But with panels like this or drawing like this, you won't feel that, oh, I have to get it right. I have to get it right or I can't do it, which you will do on your regular, on your final sheets. You'll always feel like, oh, I got to get this arm right. This eye is crooked, I have to stop that. And you keep erasing and you keep erasing and you keep erasing and keep trying to do it. And then it takes years for your book to come out. By then, somebody might have had your story. And that's something that someone wrote to me last night and said something about I think he said he's had like 1,000 characters and he wanted to get them copywritten. And I told him, don't wait to put your story out, because you hold your story in or you hide your story for so long, somebody else could come along with the same idea or the same characters and get it out before you, and then that makes you look like that you stole that person's idea or you're trying to copy off this person's idea. This is Trials of the Samurai Clown. And it's got a bunch of characters. It's a bunch of characters in this book. I never had this copywritten. You know, the characters are copywritten. But there's such a thing that's called the poor man's copyrights, which it holds out, but it doesn't hold out, is where you take your characters, all your sketches and so forth, your characters, and you can have a little letter stating that this is yours and signed by a witness. You know, these are yours. Send it, mail it to yourself, put it in an envelope, seal it, put a stamp on it, take it to the post office, have it mailed back to your house, and never open it. So if somebody comes along later in life with your character, you can bring that envelope and say, look, this has been dated since 2 years or 3 years ago, never been opened, open it up, these are my characters, I had these characters first. Or you can do just what I'm doing right now. Show your characters. Show your characters on YouTube. Go put it on Facebook. That way people will say, oh, that's nice, that's nice. So 2 years down the road, if somebody comes up with your character, you can say, wait a minute, this thing has been out for 2 years. It's been all over Facebook. So that's a free copyright right there. The laws for copywriting have changed, you know, for if you do a song or whatever. As long as you have it written down and have proof, some kind of proof that you did it, then nobody can take it from you. So don't be so afraid that, oh, I can't show my character because somebody's going to steal it. Number one, who wants to steal your character? They only see the picture. They only see this picture of your character. So they're going to say, oh, I'm going to draw that. What does he look like from the back? What does he look like from the side? So who's going to waste their time trying to steal your character and redo something with it and risk the potential lawsuit that they can get for stealing your character? Are you going to steal Wolverine? Nobody's going to steal Wolverine. But since Wolverine came out with the claws, you've seen so many characters that have like knives coming out their wrists or knives coming out their elbows. So a character can be taken and changed around, but you cannot use that same character. I've seen, you know, a number of Spider-Man knockoffs, but they're not Spider-Man. So you cannot have the same story, the same costume, the same names, but you can tweak it around a little bit. So just remember that. So let's get on with this. Just rough sketches, rough sketches. Now, this particular one here, this little sketch I did is something I saw that the demon grabbed the guy, and he need the demon in the crotch because he had him. So that turned out to be like this. So eventually, from a rough sketch, if you just keep working on it, it'll come out. Now this is a page from the story, but I colored it myself, but I ended up having it recolored. So now I have to re-letter it and then get the book out. That's just being lazy. So, and as I say, as you go along, you'll end up with, positions that you want to do. So then you'll stop and you take the time and then you'll start drawing. But because you have sketched so much, you have done these sketches so much, eventually you say, okay, I got to get it right. So then you'll have to force yourself to learn what you're doing to be able to get it down right. So at the beginning, don't worry about that. Just start your story. Start your story. If you have all your thumbnails done, number one, if you have all your thumbnails done and you start doing your roughs, your drawing skills have increased greatly. So by the time you get all that done, you're pretty much ready to start really, really drawing. So let's do this. So as I said, you'll have the point, get to the point where you're going to start to need to draw the characters right. Other things like this guy, I needed this guy to jump. So, which jump was I going to use? So I just decided, you have to sketching out, basically. You're sketching out more positions you want to use, more positions. So I had to design these demons as well. More positions from the book. And it's like this one, this and this. It's like, which one, how was I going to use it? I think this one might have been the first rough sketch. And you can see in the red, me just throwing a pencil out there. And then I came out with the final, which is this, if I'm not mistaken. More sketches, more sketches, more sketches. And this is like, once you get to the point where you're going to have to just start doing just rough sketches. Okay, don't do that to me. Positions. So it's an action comic book. So you're going to have to start doing the action positions. And these, not only one, do they help you to draw positions. Number two, you can always use that position later. Again, somehow in another book. Because there are no new positions. Just understand that. There are no new positions that you can take. So, because somebody asked me a long time ago, they wanted to use a particular stand or something like that, or a punch or something. And I'm like, nobody owns a stand or a punch. People have their signature stands and punches, but they don't own that. So just tweak it a little bit, or you can still use it, just tweak it a little bit to make it your own. More knowledge. So more sketches. And there were some other things that I wanted to say, but at this point it's just running out of my head. So this is what I do. After I do the panels, then I'll lay them out on my imaginary 11 by 17 sheet. So this is one of the positions that I saw in my head. The guy was falling, but he's falling like this. You can see it from the upside down. I didn't want it to fall in that way because a lot of people do that. So I wanted to turn them upside down. So this was kind of like the rough sketch that I was working on, trying to figure out how to have him fall and how to have him have his guns. So, and you see this, just like I said, it's rough, it's really crude. So later on, you have to say to yourself, okay, I need to get that better. I need to work on that position. So it came out to be more like this, which is upside down falling. And then later on, the final page, and this is a page from the book that I actually printed out. It turned out to be like that. Now, this was a kind of a hard panel to do because I wanted him to jump first from this little floating rock here. But then I wanted him to lose his momentum and then just start falling. But he had to take the last shot because it was like now or never. This is as far as I could go on these little floating rocks. So he was chasing the demon who was flying ahead of him. He can't fly. So he did a jump. He did this jump. He had kind of like almost super strength, not Superman kind of strength, but he has almost super strength. But he did the jump and his body started arching backwards and backwards. And then when he was in position, he had to take the shot. So things like that you have to work on. So from this to this, as I say, and all it is just from a lot of sketching. Don't be afraid. Don't try to make stuff perfect. It's just from a lot of sketching. That's all. Once you learn to sketch more or get loose with your drawings, then you start to become a better artist. Because you take that and then you say, okay, so now I have to make that a little better. So let's add some meat to this guy. Leg's going to be here. Foot's going to be there. Other leg here. Foot's going to be here. His waist. Give him some big lats. His arms are like cylinders. He's got the guns. His arms are like cylinders. He's got the guns. His head is going to be turned up, looking, or more up into the chest, looking at you as he goes down. So the more you rough sketch, that's why I tell people, don't start drawings and then try to put all this muscle and detail in your drawings first. Don't try to do muscles until you got it down, until you know you have it down, because you may think you have it down. And I was looking through, not Facebook, but not Pinterest, one of those things, and I was looking at people who are doing a lot with their comics. And I'm looking at how the arms are really not connected right, and some of the legs are not connected right. But not only that, they are just like putting so many muscles. They're trying to put overly muscle, into a character. And I'm looking at them like, man, that's just so wrong. But to them, it's right. So until you know that it's right, don't add a bunch of muscle. Add just your plain muscle, and then that's all you need. Example, this guy, once you have the curves in the body, he's muscular enough. He doesn't need the striations of the chest and, veins coming through his arms. Not yet, just you don't need that. So take that advice. All right, so where were we? From there. So this is the character. And this is Eye of the Beholder. The book is going to come out before the end of the year if I stop being lazy. One thing you have to do is know, once you come up with a character, you have to be able to draw that character. He has to look the same in every position. And this was one of the pages that I did, which I decided to redo. It was just, don't worry about it. So yeah, he's got to look the same in every position. Every time you draw the guy looking up, looking left, looking right, he's got to look the same. So that will prompt you to do stuff like this. Just draw your character's face. What does it look like when it looks extreme up or extreme down or to the side? So all these things are things that you have to do. Here we go again. Things that you have to do. This does not like me with the white paper. So this was going to be 23 minutes. This is going to be the next book. So I've already started this. I've started this a while, but don't worry about this. And I don't know what this is. This is old. So these are my rough sketches. Once I do it in pencil, then I'll come back to kind of make it a little better in ink. And this is the story is these guys. This is his old team. This is this guy's. Where did he go? This is this guy's old team, and what they are doing is they are tracking a hidden bunker down in the deep woods. And I don't know if you have ever seen Predator. In that one scene where the two guys were talking, he said, "Buddy, this is some bad bush," because it was just, the jungle was really thick. So a lot of the scenes are them going through the jungle. And then what the jungle look like, I have no idea. See, these are the teams. This is like just rough sketches. This is how it starts out, like this. These guys are going through the jungle like this. So you probably can't see this, but if I do this, and I don't know how if he's holding something or not. So all around him there are like just foliage and just trees and just, just bush, bad bush around this guy, around these guys. And they're making their way slowly through that jungle. It's a bad jungle. Here they had to stop, because it's hot. You got the bugs around, the mosquitoes around. You still have your foliage around. This guy right here, he's checking his watch, making sure they're on time. They could be late. I'm not sure. I have to notice don't have really any dialogue around that. So I have no idea what the jungle looks like. So what I do is I download pictures of forests and jungles. This is something I say to people. And I have all this stuff stapled. Keep all this stuff together in one folder. I have all this stuff stapled. So when it's time for me to draw, I might not draw this jungle because I might want more trees or the canopy really thick in the top. But I can use a lot of these elements in there. Always get reference from things that you need, keep them together. And that makes it easier when it comes time to draw. You don't say, oh, I don't know what that looks like. It's all there. You don't have to get on the internet. You already have it there. So either you can print them out, which is a lot of ink, or you can just save them in a folder on your desktop or laptop. So yeah, whatever can help you, print it out, save it, and when time comes to use it, then you can, as I say, you can take some elements from here. The dark, coming out of the dark, and see the leaves and the rocky area. Your people might not be standing this way, but you can position them in a different way. So don't wait to do your comic because you say to yourself, oh, my anatomy is not good yet. It's not, I need some more time to practice. No, if you see that story in your head, if you know somebody's going to come into the kitchen, do a rough kitchen, do your rough guides, stand, even if you have to just do something like this. Like that, I call that my clothespin, man, because it's like an old clothespin. And if you're young, you won't know what a clothespin is. Standing there and somebody sitting on the sink. So, and that's all you need to get started. And once you become a better drawer by just sketching, then later on you can come back and then you can put detail to that. And it's just simply, don't be afraid. I think that's what a lot of people are so afraid that they're going to mess up and people are going to like talk about them and so forth and so on. But who's going to call your house and say, oh, page 32 looks like crap? Nobody's going to call your house. Put your book out. Get your book started. If you're good enough, if you're doing this kind of art, go ahead and put your book out. Put your book out. Don't worry about what people say. This is your dream. You follow through. Do it. By the time you get to your 5th or 6th book, your art will be fantastic because you're drawing so much. So as I say to people, stop trying to do pages and pages of squares and so forth. Do the sketches first. Then as you get comfortable with it, you'll be able to kick out your squares, your circles, your triangles, but don't spend 6-7 months doing that and say, oh, it'll never be perfect. Nothing will ever be perfect. I can point out so many flaws in this thing that, you just like, stop, Brian, stop. We don't want to see no more. Yeah, so nothing will ever be perfect. Even some of the prose, I can show you some flaws in the prose stuff. So get out there and start your book. Start your story. Start your rough sketches to your story. Number your pages, page 1, page 2, page 3. That way later on you won't get them lost and staple them. If you have to get your stapler or something, staple your things together and then keep them in a folder like this one. I have a folder here. It's like the animal story folder. Just keep it all together so you won't lose it. So that's going to be it for this quick knowledge lesson. It's not so much a drawing lesson, but a knowledge lesson to encourage you guys to just go for it. All right. I'll see you guys in the next video. Class is dismissed.